I'm Yasmine Phillips and I am a mum to an amazing micro-preemie who was born at 25 weeks. I was really lucky to fall pregnant very quickly, so up until 25 weeks my pregnancy was very uneventful, quite textbook. I was healthy, everything was going smoothly. I had morning sickness, but that was always a source of comfort for me. I thought that everything was continuing along nicely if I was feeling ill. For me, it was an overwhelming experience, but deep down I was hopeful that everything was going to be okay. I was lucky enough that the doctor who saw me in Geraldton basically said she was planning for a best case scenario that I had eaten something that hadn't agreed with me at Christmas time, or worst case scenario that I was facing HELP syndrome, which I had never heard of before. But she said she was going to plan for the worst and hope for the best. From what I can remember from the birth, I had another episode of some really excruciating rib pain, thankfully while I was admitted at King Edward. So the call was made to basically deliver her within the next hour. My husband had actually just left for the evening because it was quite late at night, so he had basically just made it home and got the call to come back in again because we would be delivering the baby quite soon. So it was all a very daunting, terrifying experience. For the birth itself, it was not the usual birth because of how unwell I was and how small she was. She had to be delivered via an emergency classical caesarean, which meant I had to be put under a general anaesthetic, and my husband wasn't allowed in the room either. So neither of us were really there when our daughter was born, which was just not the furthest thing, I guess, from anyone's mind when they fall pregnant and think they're going to be having a baby. From my husband, it was obviously a terrifying experience for him because he was waiting outside in the corridor at 2 o'clock in the morning, hoping for some good news. I'm assuming for every parent, an introduction to the neonatal ICU is a terrifying experience. I think for the first week in there, my head was all over the place. I kind of, I was terrified by basically all of it. You're also told, a lot of the realities about life from now on for our baby girl. So I have some terrible memories of those first days, just the uncertainty of it all, the not knowing if she was going to be okay, if she was ever going to be able to come home with us. I took great comfort knowing that the people who were looking after her had as much care, compassion, attention to detail for her as we did, as her parents. Every single person was so understanding of the marathon, I guess, that we were facing. And I felt like they celebrated every tiny little win with us, and honestly they took every little setback as well, just as personally as we did, and we will never forget how special those people are and will always be grateful to them. Today I'm very lucky to say that we've got a very happy, healthy, independent, feisty, which is how one of the NICU nurses actually described her when she was this teeny tiny little baby in the humidity crib. Ava is basically going from strength to strength at school. She's a delightful little girl, and the only ongoing issue we have had is speech therapy, but she has made amazing strides there, and I really don't think if you saw her today you would even really know or even contemplate her very difficult start to life.